Nerdopolis. This is episode 2. I am your host, Steve Long, joined by my co-host, Dave.
What up?
Hey. And this is actually take 2 of episode 2. We had some problems last week trying to record it. But
yes.
Hopefully it would work this time. We had some malfunctioning equipment or, user error.
Yeah, I'm voting. I think it was actually a PEBCAC error.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was, the wires between my 2 ears weren't working or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, yes, this is Nerdopolis, and we talk about all things nerdy, which can include, but is not limited to, movies, comics, music, books, pretty much anything else we can think of. So, today we're going to talk about some of the things that were our favorites from 2015. So I guess we can start off with albums. I figured we'd go with the top 5 albums of 2015.
Sounds like a plan. You go with yours.
Okay. My number 5 album is from a guy who lives up in New Hampshire. Never had heard of him until, actually, you mentioned him.
Damn right, because I've got good taste.
That's right. Anyway, his name is Adam Dorowski. The album is Yay. And it's a really great album. He, not really sure how to describe it. I guess you could say it's punk. Mixed with a little Americana, maybe?
Adam Dorowski, no, it's, I would say it's more indie punky power pop.
There you go. That's a good description for it.
If you think his 2 favorite albums of all time are the Blue Album and Pinkerton by Weezer.
Okay.
And this album was hugely influenced by Beach Slang, Iron Chic, and another band that I can't remember off the top of my head. So yeah, I forget how I described the record when I reviewed it. It's on mine. It's like my number 11 album of the year. It's a fantastic record. But yeah, if you like really catchy, poppy, indie punk stuff, then it is the way to go. Okay, so in other words, this is my quote. In other words, imagine Blue Album era Weezer jamming with Beach Slang and J Church.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So actually these lists that we are discussing, you can actually find on the internet. This list specifically, there were 11 on the list, but we're just going through the top 5 today. And I'm going to go ahead and link it to our Facebook page, make it a little easier for folks to get to. So you can just go to facebook.com/Nerdopolis podcast. And I think while I'm at it, I will go ahead and post a link to yours as well.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. So, moving on to number 4 is an album with a really long title, The Things We Do to Find People Who Feel Like Us by Beach Slang.
Yes, this is a spectacular record, folks. And ranks very high on my list.
Yes, and it's one of your favorite bands.
Yes.
I of course, like I said in my review, I haven't always been a very big fan of them. I had my issues about them. But this album kind of did it for me, and it's amazing, and you should go listen to it. And
see, folks, he saw the light. That's what it was.
Okay. I'll go with that. Interesting that the very first post that came up on your website was a review of the Lucky Edgets.
It's a band you were opening up for tonight. So folks, if you were in the Oklahoma City metro area It is Sunday, January 17th, 2016 right now. Otisburg, Steve's band, will be making their triumphant return to the stage tonight, opening for the Lucky Edgets, or however you pronounce their name.
Triumphant return. Wow.
Triumphant return. So, and that band, the Lucky Edgets, or however you pronounce their name, they did just put out an EP, this month, and it's actually really good. They've got a whole 77 style punk, street punk vibe. Sound like they could have, been hanging out in San Francisco with the Swingin' Utters and putting out records on TKO Records back in 1997. So yeah, and they're very nice guys. And sadly, about a year ago, they lost their bass player to, he was randomly shot, after a show. So that's pretty fucked up. But they persevered and put out a really good EP. So you should go check it out tonight and, give Steve some love. I can't be there because I'm poor as H and have no gas. But
you're not going to see Otisburg.
My heart is there with you, and I will be cheering you on from afar here on the south side. Yeah, but to continue back to the list.
Back to the list. Where's my list? Okay, number 3 was Party Adjacent by Dan Andriano in the Emergency Room. You might know Dan Andriano from Alkaline Trio.
That's a great album. It's also on my list, but farther down. Very good album. That man's name is very hard to pronounce.
Yeah, it's really good album. You can tell, listening to the lyrics, it's a very personal album to him. Unless he's just, making up all these lyrics. But it sounds like it was very, very personal to him. Really good album though. Number 2 was Stitch Puppy by Joey Cape. You might know Joey Cape as the lead singer of Lagwagon, or you might even know him, depending on how deep you get into music, a band called Bad Astronaut. This album was actually one of 2 releases by Joey Cape that was on my list. An EP that he put out quite near the end of the year called One Weekend was on number 9. But this one was number 2, and really good album. And then, here we are, we come to number 1. And this one is by a local band here from Oklahoma City called Red City Radio, and that was the name of the album. I think despite the fact that this is my number 1 album of the year, because it is a great freaking album, I think you liked it better than I did, because I'm still torn over which one I like better, this one or Titles, which, interestingly enough, was the number 1 spot on my 2013 list.
Yeah, no, I think I do. I do like this album better. Titles was number 3, I think, on my 2013 list. Yeah, this album, and it's actually number 5 on my list. This is excellent. Red City Radio has gone through some lineup changes, and they have really hit their stride. They've always been a tight band. They've always been a good band, but there's a new, kind of renewed focus and a new, I don't know if direction is the right word, but, there's definitely something slightly different, and I think it works.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that their original guitar player / co-songwriter Paul is no longer with the band.
Yeah, Paul Pendley left the band sometime in, I think, 2014, and he was replaced by a guy named Ryan from the band Nothington, which if you have never listened to the band Nothington, you need to, because they are freaking incredible. And you can hear his imprint on this new record, and I love, this was the first record of 2015 that I really, truly loved. As much as I love this record, it's number 5 on my list, because
segue into your list.
By God, there were so many good things that came out this year, despite what some curmudgeon older people think. New music is alive and well. Number 4 on my list was Hope is Made of Steel by Northcote. Northcote is the project of a guy named Matt Goud or Good. I totally mispronounced his name. I apologize. Who is a spitting image of Sami Zayn, by the way. Sami Zayn is awesome. Anywho, this guy is like the Canadian Dave Haas and Frank Turner. So if you're a fan of that kind of singer-songwriter, just kind of straight up rock and roll stuff, then Northcote is something you need to check out. Have you ever listened to Northcote, Steve?
I think we had this conversation last week, and no, I haven't got around to listening to them yet.
Yeah, yes, you need to. You need to. It's because
for those that don't know, Sami Zayn is a professional wrestler.
Zayn, and he used to be known back in the independent scenes. He wore a mask and he went by the name of El Generico. Yeah, he's fantastic. Number 3 on my list, Greyhound Dreams by Sam Russo. Sam Russo is another, singer, songwriter, punk troubadour guy. It's mostly him and his acoustic guitar in this record, and it is emotionally just very powerful, very thoughtful. It reminds me, it hit me in the way, just the feelings it brought up reminded me of the same way that I felt listening to John Moreland's In the Throes album, which I think is John Moreland's best record, which was number 2 on my 2013 list. That did come out in 2013, right? Is that 20? I think so. Yeah, it came out the same year Titles came out. Anywho. This record is fantastic. If you like that kind of, punk rock gone folk thing, then Sam Russo is a guy you need to check out. Number 2 on my list, The Things We Do to Find People Who Feel Like Us by Beach Slang. And Steve mentioned earlier, Beach Slang is one of my favorite bands. I think at this point it's probably pretty safe to say they're one of my favorite bands of all time. I love this band.
I'm really surprised this was your number 2.
Yeah, it was, and I was a little surprised too. I think some of it had to do with, as I've listened to this record more, I've enjoyed it more. But the thing, sometimes when I think of these lists, and I put together stuff, I think of a couple things. And like one, what are the records that stick with me all year? And what are the ones that I think I'm going to be listening to 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line? And other times it is, okay, what records do I listen to and just punch me in the gut and give me that visceral, holy F moment? And that's what Beach Slang's debut EP last year did for me. Who would ever want anything so broken? And this album, their full-length debut, is phenomenal. There's not a bad song on it. They haven't put out a bad song. I mean, there are some things that I prefer over others. There are a couple of songs I'm not hugely fond of, but this is a band that has perfectly captured and encapsulated everything about underground music from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and mixed it into a sound that is staggeringly fresh while still pulling from all of these other sources. It's like, imagine a band that grew up listening to, the Replacements and Jawbreaker and the Jesus and Mary Chain and the Smiths and REM, and Nirvana, and took all those influences, put them into a blender, mixed it up, and created a band that mixes all of those sounds. And that's what you get with Beach Slang. More so as each record has come out, that mixture has come more and more to the forefront. But it's brilliant. I mean, this band is phenomenal. And when I think back to this year, or to 2015, it will, I mean, I'm going to think of really at the end of the day, there are going to be two records that stand out. This one and the one I put at number one, which is, Heart Songs by Airy and the Pure Heart. And this is a record that just, it was that gut punch, visceral, holy God, I'm hearing something special. And the other really cool thing about this is, if I may toot my own horn a little bit, which apparently, according to people at work, I need to do more often. I happen to be one of the first sites out there that reviewed this record. And I've interviewed the band since then, and I correspond on a pretty regular basis with, the singer Ari. And, he periodically will tell me that, that he gets, people buying the record contacting him, and they found him through either my review or through this list.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and that was something that I thought was very cool. So not only did this record just hit me so hard when I first heard it. I mean, right from the opening chords, I just knew this was something amazingly special. But then also to get in at the ground floor of something and to see it as special and to write about it and to know that this band is getting exposure thanks in part to something that I did, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, so they're working on a new record. They should have a record out in 2016, and I am very much looking forward to it. So those are my favorite records of the year. But like Steve said, these lists are both all over the interwebs, and they'll be up on our Facebook page. You should also link them on the Nerdopolis Twitter, which for those of you who don't know, it is at Nerdopolis_OK. I did see that you changed the handle on that. I was very bummed to see that there had to be an underscore in there. I'm not a fan of underscores.
I was a little bummed about that too.
Yeah, but oh well, what you gonna do? I mean, I guess you could have made it OKC.
I thought about that. That was my first thought, my first choice to do it, but then I was like, you know what? Neither one of us live in OKC.
Technically, yes, we live in the greater Oklahoma City metro area. So when we talk to somebody, so for example, if you are someone that lives in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, you're in part of the greater Tulsa metro area. So when you talk to someone who is, say, from Miami or New York, you're going to tell people, I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
That's a good point, because I used to live in Seattle. And for a lot of that time, I didn't actually live in Seattle proper, but I lived in the Seattle, I guess you could call that the metropolitan area. That's a very good point. So you know what? With that in mind, I think I'm going to jump on Twitter right now and change it.
All right, sounds good. So forget that first handle I told you. If it is able to be done, the new handle will be at Nerdopolis OKC. So I like that better anyway.
Yeah, I do too.
Though I did find it funny that I actually had to tweet my own show that I co-host and say, hey, you should follow me. Obviously, the person who runs his Twitter account is not someone that generally follows people back.
Well, he's also not very bright.
So I was going to go there, man. I was going to give you,
Well,
Hey, before we get on to something else, some breaking news happened right before, or I just noticed it right before we started doing the show. Jessica Jones has been picked up for season 2.
I saw that. That must make you really happy.
Fuck yeah, it does. Jessica Jones is amazing. I mean, that show is so good. So freaking good. And it's amazing to me what Marvel has done with that show and with Daredevil. What they've basically done with essentially pocket change as far as film and TV are concerned have made two of the most incredible TV series, comic book adaptations ever. They're so good. And, so yeah, I'm very happy about that. So we've got Daredevil season 2 coming. Apparently we're going to have a Punisher series.
Oh yeah.
So Punisher is possibly coming. We're going to have Luke Cage, which is they're filming right now. We're going to have Iron Fist. We're then going to have this whole group of wacky kids getting together in the Defenders. And we're going to get Jessica Jones season 2. This is so fantastic. I cannot wait. At one point I heard that the plan was every 6 months they're going to be dropping a new series on Netflix. So please, if you can make it come faster, that would be amazing, but I won't get that greedy. So very happy about this. This is going to be awesome. And you know, since, we're talking about recent news, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. In the last week, quite a number of famous people passed away, and unfortunately, there was Lemmy from Motorhead passed away recently, but then this last week, David Bowie passed away. He was a music legend and was also in a lot of films, including Jennifer Connelly with the Muppets that were in it. Labyrinth. God, how could I forget that movie? Love that movie. And also Alan Rickman of Harry Potter, Die Hard, and Dogma fame passed away.
Yeah, he was also in a movie, a biopic of Gregory Rasputin, which you probably wouldn't know what I'm talking about unless you're a history nerd. Gregory Rasputin was a monk that was involved with the Romanovs back before the Russian Revolution. So he played the title character in that movie.
Interesting. See, now Rickman and David Bowie were both 69 years old when they passed away. They definitely had long lives. Do what?
Both died of cancer.
Yeah, both died of cancer. Now, a certain other 69-year-old who is on TV a lot and a blowhard, if he could just pass away.
Oh, come on. Who are you thinking of?
Yeah, if Donald Trump becomes our president, we are fucked, ladies and gentlemen. Just gonna say.
Is he 69?
He is. Why, God, honey, you took the wrong 69-year-olds. You really did.
Oh, another really good movie that Rickman was in. Again, you probably wouldn't care about this unless you're a history nerd. It was a movie called Michael Collins. And, if you know anything about history, Michael Collins was the founder of the Irish Republican Army. And Alan Rickman, and that role actually was played by Liam Neeson. But Alan Rickman was in that movie. He played the character of Eamon de Valera, who was a big part of the Irish Revolution, and then eventually became the very first president of the Irish Republic. But,
cool.
So Rickman's gotten around with his movie. You know?
Yeah, Rickman's was just an amazing actor. He was just incredible. I loved him in the Harry Potter films. Professor Snape, his portrayal of that character was just phenomenal.
Yeah. He was probably my second favorite character in the Harry Potter series.
Who's your favorite?
Sirius Black.
Oh, yes. I can see that. Yeah. So
now that we're talking about movies.
Yeah. Good segue. Favorite movies of 2015.
Okay, so we're going to do, you want to do 5 or 6? I guess it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter because mine are really off the top of my head.
Yeah. Now, I gotta say that my list, and I haven't done this in writing yet, but my list actually changed over the last week. Because I saw a movie that I had been wanting to see from 2015 for a while, never got around to it for whatever reason. And it ended up knocking the number 6 out of its spot. The original number 6 was Mad Max Fury Road. And that has now been replaced by Terminator Genisys. This movie got a pretty bad rap with critics and, as far as I know, from box office as well. But I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought there were some interesting twists in it, and no, I thought it was a really great movie. I mean, like, part of the beginning, you feel like you're almost watching them reshoot the original. And then something just out of the ordinary happens, and you're like, oh, okay, this is not going to be just like the original. And it's not necessarily a reboot like people thought, although it is kind of rebooting the timeline. But really good movie. I think you should check it out. If you, I don't know if you are a fan of the Terminator movies. I myself was.
I am a fan of Terminator and Terminator 2. Yeah. And it ends there.
Okay, well, I can tell you that if you're a completist, 3 is good. But in general, it was kind of very meh. I actually liked 4 better than I liked 3. But I gotta say, man, this new one might be knocking number 2 out of the top spot of Terminator movies.
What's up with you, like, you're like, oh, new music, it's not very good anymore. New movies, right? This is better than this classic movie from the same series that I think is better.
Now. Come on now. It's all subjective.
True. But this is twice now. We will hear the other one later on where you're like, hey, this newer one, this is actually better than this classic movie that completely changed the film industry forever. But, you know, Chris Pratt's funny, so I like this one better.
Okay. Bite me. Moving on. Number 5 was Avengers Age of Ultron.
Good film.
Gotta say, first time I saw it in the theater, I was a little underwhelmed. It did have a lot to stack up to with the original, and
yeah, it did.
I think Joss Whedon probably rushed this one a little bit too much.
I just think he was overwhelmed, and I don't know how much it was. Yeah. I don't know how much the film itself was rushed as far as like the production, because they worked on it for a long time.
No, not necessarily the production, but like the storyline.
Yeah, what they need to do is they need like a director's cut ultimate version that has all the like extra, because there was over 3 hours worth of film. The original cut was like 3 hours long. Yeah. Like, okay, put that on Blu-ray. I'll buy that. Yeah. Take my money, please.
So I did buy this on Blu-ray, and after a couple more viewings, I started liking it a lot more and more. And a lot of it has to do with why this made the top of the list, or near the top of the list, was just kind of the characterizations. I liked the way these characters were going. There were some with one exception, and I probably don't need to get into that, but maybe I will.
Talking about Ultron?
No, actually, well, Ultron was a little hard to swallow. No, I was actually thinking more of Hawkeye. They took him in a direction I didn't really think he needed to go. So that, as far as I can say, is really my one of few beefs with the movie. One, I thought it was the story was rushed, but 2, I didn't really care for the direction they took Hawkeye.
Well, see, with me, and this one's also, I don't have an actual official list, so I'll just talk about my thoughts on this movie right now. Yeah. This movie, I thought, the thing that I thought didn't work, aside from, some things in the plot were rushed, was Ultron. The development of Ultron and how that personality came about, that just happened like instantaneously. Yeah. And you've got this amazing talent like James Spader, and I just thought he was kind of misused. So that was my biggest complaint. I had no problems with the Hawkeye stuff. The lady who played his wife, Linda, whatever her name is, she was in the show Freaks and Geeks, which I love. So anytime I see her, it makes me happy. I liked, him being a parent, and so I had no problems with that. In fact, I thought some of the stuff at the house those are some of the best scenes, I thought. The interaction, the seeds that were set for Civil War, the tension between Tony and Captain America. So yeah, it had huge shoes to fill because the first Avengers movie was pretty much flawless. And yeah, it didn't quite deliver, but it was really good. It was one of my favorites of the year.
Cool. And my number 4, big groan, because I know you're gonna talk about this one. My 4th favorite was Jurassic World. Yes, I like it better than the original.
That's what amazes me.
But yes, Jurassic Park was a great movie. I just liked this one better.
I understand. I apologize. It was.
I don't know what it was about it. I can't say it was just Chris Pratt because he pretty much carried the movie. But
there's no real pretty much about it. It was, to me, Jurassic World was fun. It was a fun popcorn film. But there was nothing else. There was no substance, at all. Jurassic Park, the original, was fun on a popcorn level, but also made you think. And it worked on a character level. It worked on a philosophical level. I just thought it was a better film. But I can understand how walking out of Jurassic World, it could feel like you had a better time watching it because, it's bigger and there's more explosions and there's more funny. And the funny in it is the way that Chris Pratt is comedic is very different than the way Jeff Goldblum is comedic. So it was just different tone. So I can understand how someone could say, I actually enjoyed watching this movie more than the original. I just can't fathom thinking it's a better film, but again, it's all subjective.
That is all subjective. But Pratt is just great in everything he does.
He is really quite good.
All right, on to number 3, the only animated film of the year that made it to my list was Inside Out,
which I still have sadly not seen.
God, it's such a great movie. It's the story of a little girl whose parents moved them from, I think it's Wisconsin or Minnesota, one of those states, from there to San Francisco, and most of the movie takes place inside her head. And it's about her various emotions and how they interact and how they ultimately make her interact. Some really good casting on this one. The best one, of course, I think was Lewis Black playing the anger emotion. He was cast very well. Perfect casting on that one. But yeah, really good movie. Definitely worth checking out even if you don't like animated movies. This is, probably going to top, if I ever do a best Pixar movies of all time list, this will probably be close to the top.
See, now my favorite Pixar film is, okay, so, well, it's interesting. There's the film I think that is the best Pixar film of the ones that I've seen. I have not seen The Good Dinosaur. I have not seen Inside Out. The best one I think is Up. My personal favorite, it's a tie between Up and Monsters, Inc.
Okay. Yeah, I've actually never seen Up.
Oh my God. Okay, so the thing about Up, I truly think that if you watch Up and you don't at least choke up a little bit, you have no soul. I had tears streaming multiple times throughout that movie. And now granted, I cry very easily. It's just a thing I do. But that movie was phenomenal. So yeah, I will definitely, I need to see Inside Out. I'll check it out from the library at some point.
Yet either.
Apparently no one else did.
I've got to say that my favorite Pixar film is probably still to this day The Incredibles.
It is good. It's the best Fantastic Four film ever made.
Touche. Okay. All right, number 2 on my list. This one kind of came out of nowhere. Was Ant-Man. When I first heard that Marvel was doing an Ant-Man movie, I was like, oh, okay, Ant-Man, why? Whatever. And then I heard that it was not going to be, the main character was not going to be the Henry Pym Ant-Man, but the Scott Lang, and once again I was like, okay, why? And then I took my 2 little ones to go see it, because, my 2 kids, all of my kids are just as nerdy as I am. Anyway, so we went to see Ant-Man, and we all loved it. It was just a great, fun movie, and it was just much higher than any expectation I ever had of it.
Yeah, Ant-Man was probably my favorite movie of the year. I love this film. It is, as far as the standalone Marvel films, i.e. the films that aren't the Avengers, it is, it's top 3.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say the standalone Marvel films, the 3 best, or my 3 favorites are Captain America, Winter Soldier, Ant-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy. So Ant-Man is phenomenal. It works on pretty much every level. The only thing that it is lacking is a villain that has real depth, but you could make that argument about every Marvel film that does not have Loki as a villain.
Yeah. That's the one thing
I didn't
Marvel
think the
has a
villain
problem
was
with is villains.
Yeah, they really do. I think I don't think the villain was bad by any stretch of the means, but I love that movie. My dad got deported. My mom died.
They gave me the straight.
And I got the van. Yeah, Michael Pena.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Scott Lang is going to procure a device from a quote-unquote empty warehouse, and it turns out to be the Avengers headquarters.
Yeah, that was a good scene where he ends up interacting with the Falcon.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was very good. I did enjoy that a lot.
I really did like Falcon.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job with that character. I think I like him. He's cool. And so what's next on your list?
Oh, okay. And the number 1 movie of the year was... Oh, fail. I'm trying to play music.
Yep, not gonna work.
Oh,
Oh well.
Bummer. Okay. Well, here we go. The number 1 movie of the year for me was, of course, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I've been waiting for this movie for years.
And he's been obsessing about it ever since. It is all Star Wars all the time with this guy, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I'm a nerd.
All Star Wars all the time. Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, seeing a Star Wars movie directed by somebody other than George Lucas was quite satisfying. Seeing a real director do a Star Wars movie.
Damn.
It was just amazing. I mean, we've had this conversation before. George Lucas is a good idea man. He comes up with really good ideas. He doesn't execute them so well. Oh, really? Talk about your delayed reaction.
Yeah, that's okay.
Anyway, so yeah, he's a good idea guy, comes up with good ideas. He just didn't execute them so well.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, The Force Awakens was one of my favorite movies of the year. It was not my favorite. I really think Ant-Man was my favorite. And it redeemed the entire franchise over the abominations that were the prequels. But yeah, I did quite enjoy those in that film. Some other favorites of mine, because I never did compile a specific list. I really enjoyed Dope. Also,
What was Dope about?
Dope is about these 3 nerds in that are living, I think it's Compton. It's either Compton or Inglewood. One of those really urban.
I remember seeing the trailer for that. Okay.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. They play in a punk band. They're obsessed with 90s hip hop. And they end up they go to this party and end up with a backpack full of drugs and a gun, and have to figure out, one of them wants to go to Harvard. So yeah, it is phenomenal. Then I also really enjoyed Trainwreck, the Amy Schumer film. Had some hilarious scenes with John Cena. And he looks like such a freak of nature when standing next to a normal sized person. It just is crazy. A movie that I actually just watched last night that I just was blown away by was The Martian. I just watched that.
Yeah, I still want to see that.
Oh my God, it's so good. It is so incredibly good. I really, really enjoyed that. So, and there's some others that I'm sure I'm forgetting. But yeah, those are kind of my favorites. But really, I think Ant-Man was my big favorite of the year, followed by probably Star Wars, and then The Martian, and then probably Dope. Really enjoyed that. So, so good stuff. It's another good year for film. We live in amazing times. We've got some, there's unbelievable movies coming out this year. So that I am eagerly awaiting. We are weeks away from Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
We have Batman v Superman. We have Captain America Civil War. We have Suicide Squad. We have Doctor Strange and Gambit all coming out this year.
And
even though Gambit hasn't started shooting yet, so how they're going to get that thing done to come out this year. Yeah, but.
And only 335 days until Rogue One.
Yeah, there's that too.
Actually, I think it's 334 by now. That was posted yesterday.
I'm actually, as much as I like Star Wars, and there was a time I was a gigantic Star Wars fan, I'm a much bigger comic book fan, I think, than Star Wars fan at this point.
Yeah.
It's just my tastes have changed a little bit over the years. And plus I spent a long time reading a lot of Star Wars novels, and maybe I just Star Wars myself out.
Could be.
Yep. Interestingly, I've been watching some old Incredible Hulk episodes lately from the old 70s and 80s TV series, and that show was the thing I think that really differentiates comic book stuff back then, with the possible exception of Superman the movie and comic book inspired stuff or adaptations now, is that back then they were afraid to go the full 9. They were afraid to go balls deep with it. And now they're not. And by they, I'm talking about the producers. The Hulk as a show worked because it was a Jekyll and Hyde show. But it was also, the acting at points was pretty bad. The writing was questionable. And, you kind of got the feeling that sometimes the people making it were taking it very seriously, or were like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this comic book thing. Whereas nowadays the biggest stars are doing it and it's a big deal. So yeah, it was, I've been enjoying watching it because it was a big influence on me that I like comic books to this day because of the Incredible Hulk and Super Friends. And you talk about something that does not hold up well. That is Super Friends. Show was awful.
Yes, it was.
But the DVDs that have been put out, when they did put that out on DVDs, they have some like documentaries on them that include guys like Jeff Johns and the guy who wrote Birthright. Oh, I'm blanking. What is that fool's name? Who wrote Birthright? Damn it. One moment, please. Mark Waid. I can't believe I forgot that. Mark Waid. He also wrote Kingdom Come. He and Jeff Johns do some interviews, and they do commentary on some stuff, and that's pretty good.
Huh.
And I'm getting a phone call. One moment. My daughter's calling me. Hold on one second. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. So, yeah, so we've gone over our favorite movies and albums of 2015. I think we were going to talk next about some albums coming up this year that we were looking forward to.
Let's actually hold that off till next week, because sadly I gotta go. I gotta go pick up my daughter.
All right, well that is it for Nerdopolis episode number 2 today. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we hope to see you again next week. Or not really see you, but hope that you join us next week.
Yes, please do.
All right, have a great week. And come out and see Edelsburg tonight.
Yes,
this will be
go rock out to some nerds. And
even though you won't hear this until after we've already played.
Probably. You're not going to post it today?
Oh, I probably will.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay. Take care, folks.
All right. All right, let's hope this thing actually records.
It should. If not, I recorded it.
Well, I hit the stop recording, and it's still not doing anything.
Is it patience, sir? Takes a second.
Yeah.
This program, unfortunately, is a memory hog.
Oh no.
What?
I've got my Emoto call recorder screen says not responding.
Yeah, just give it a second. It'll.
Okay. I'm just wondering how long it's been sitting there and not responding.
It does that whenever I hit stop recording.
Oh, okay.
It does that.
Wow. Well, it's a shame you're not going to get to come out tonight.